Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Come out to the ballpark this week as the Ferry Hawks welcome in the Charleston Dirty Birds May 5th through the 10th. Grab the kids and come on out. We kick it off on Tuesday, May 5th with Cinco de Baseball with $5 tickets and $5 food and beverage specials. And we end the week as we celebrate all moms on Mother's Day. Moms get in free. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
The More Money Show with Steve Moore on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hello, folks. This is Steve Moore. This is the More Money Show, and that is the More Money theme song, Money, because that's why we do this show every weekend. And we are coast to coast. We are live. We are in color, and we do this station and this show because we want to help you make more money and understand what's going on in finance and economics and business, and politics. And so we are so appreciative of you tuning in each week. Our ratings are excellent thanks to you because you're smart enough to listen to this show, and I learn so much from you. I've said it 1,000 times on the station. I'll say it again. I'm not the world's smartest radio talk show host, but I have the smartest audience. So thank you for joining. So much to cover today. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, by the way, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. As soon as this show is over, I'm going to have to run out and get something nice for my wife. If anyone has any good ideas, please let me know. I always have a hard time figuring out what she wants. So let's get right down to it. The economy picking up. No question about it. A rash of good news this week. Stock market, S&P 500, the, NASDAQ and the Dow all at or near all-time record highs. Gee, that doesn't sound recessionary to me. Although, look, the economy could turn. We're still facing $100 a barrel oil, which is very high, and that's a tax on the American economy. So I'm going to use, I think I used this word last week. I'm going to use it again this week. Resiliency. This is an amazingly resilient economy, even with all the disruptions in the oil supply from the Middle East and the fact that consumer sentiment is bad. Consumers are not happy right now. They're still spending and businesses are still hiring. And we are still seeing a lot of investment by businesses in the future. So I don't know. I was somewhat pessimistic a few weeks ago. I thought we might slip into a short recession because of the people paying $4.25 and $4.50 for gasoline at the pump in many places. If you're in California, paying $5.50, $6 a gallon. And that does hurt the economy. But, boy, we're just plowing through this. They really are. So it's a real, tip to the hat to Trump for helping us get through this, and also to our amazing businessmen and women. And so one of the things I wanted to say to you folks is I am very, very worried about what is happening with the Democratic Party. And by the way, I am not a rah-rah Republican. You know that. I'm here to criticize Republicans and Democrats. And I've always said this, Republicans are not necessarily the solution to our problems, because they're the ones who gave us this situation, which we are in today, where we have a national debt that is 100% of our GDP. That is, we're borrowing, the amount of money that we're borrowing is equal to the entire size of our economy, which is very worrisome. And I think you all probably would agree with me. That's a very, very dangerous hump that we've just climbed over, which is that we are now borrowing as if we're just printing money. Well, gosh, we are just printing money. We almost act as if it's monopoly money we're spending. But things look pretty good right now on the economy, and not great. And we're not out of the woods. I'm not here to tell you it's going to be smooth sailing. It's not going to be. The Iranians are not being very cooperative, and that has thrown a monkey wrench in the economy. But I tend to be feeling a little bit better about things. One of the things I'm going to try to take some of your calls in this hour for the show a little later on, because the issue that I find really confounding is what is going on with high tech. And so the high tech situation is that we are facing an incredible productivity revolution with robotics, with artificial intelligence. It's going soon all the drudgery work that we have to do every day will be done by computers and by robots. In 10, 15 years, everybody's going to have their own robot, and they will take out the garbage. They will make your bed in the morning. They will drive you to work. It is an amazing future that we are facing, but people are nervous about it. And so the point I'm getting at is it's a cool thing that's coming. There will be a lot of job displacement, and Americans are understandably worried about that. But polls show that more Americans are worried about AI rather than excited about it. So when I take your calls, I really want your response about this. Do you feel that this new revolution in technology that is coming, the robots and so on, are you excited about that, or do you think it's more negative than positive? I think it's exciting. I am excited about it. This is like the era of electricity. That's how big this is in terms of how it's going to change our lives, or the invention of the wheel, or the invention of fire. I mean, this is a huge thing. I'm 66. I don't know if I'm going to live through the whole boom that's coming and the way it will change our lives. But I'm excited about it. If you're not, I want to hear why you're not. What are you worried about? Are you worried about losing your jobs? Are you worried about a Terminator future where we work for the robots, not the robots working for us? I'd love to hear your ideas. It is the topic du jour. But the other thing is there's a revolt that is going on in this country against about these data centers. I live outside of Loudoun County, Virginia, where we have one of the largest data centers in the world. It was one of the first data centers in the United States, and it's been a boom to the area. It pays a lot of the taxes. It funds the schools. It funds the roads. It funds the bridges and the healthcare programs. And it has lowered property taxes for the owners there because they so much property. There's thousands and thousands of construction jobs that have been created, union jobs. So that's the upside of this, but people are worried about, whether it's going to contaminate their water, or they're worried about, they feel like it's being near the Chernobyl, nuclear plant. And I don't know why that's happened overnight, but we have seen this, and it's coming from the left and the right. Many of my conservative friends, many of my liberal friends are all saying the same thing. We don't want data centers in our backyard. We think they're bad things. Well, look, if you're in a community and you need jobs and you need economic development, and people have been leaving and jobs have been leaving, why wouldn't you want a data center? So I'd like I really do. I want to hear from people who object to data centers. And I know there are a lot of you out there, and tell me why. Tell me what your big concern is about that, because my simple response to this, by the way, when people say, I hate data centers, we can't have data centers. And by the way, they're going to use an enormous amount of electric power. No question about it. They're going to probably triple our electricity needs over the next 15 or 20 years. So we're going to need a lot of data centers. We're going to need a lot of electric power. But when people say, I don't want any more data centers, I hold up what I'm holding in my hand right now, which you can't see because this is radio. I hold up my cell phone. My iPhone. I say, you don't like data centers? Do you like this? Do you like your iPhone? Do you like the fact that you can have everything at your fingertips? Because guess what? If you don't have data centers, you're not going to have a functioning iPhone or a cell phone. The same thing when people say, I don't want a power plant. Oh, you don't want a power plant? Do you want the lights to go out? I mean, people have a hard time connecting the dots here. So I'm going to take some questions from you all at the end of the hour on many of these issues, because I learn a lot from listening to you. This is the More Money Show, folks, and we will be right back.
The More Money Show with Steve Moore on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The More Money Show with Steve Moore.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We're back, folks. This is the More Money Show. Thank you so much for joining in on this Mother's Day weekend. We are live. We are in color. And speaking of color, my next guest has been a friend of mine for, 25 years or so, maybe longer. The older I get, the harder it is for me to remember sequences of things. But I used to go on Brian Susman's national radio show, which was hosted at KSFO in California. I don't know. I think we did that show for about 10 years together. I was a guest of his on that show, and Brian really was the king of talk radio, especially on the West Coast. He has a new book out, by the way, called Climate Cult, and it's one of the many reasons I wanted to bring him on the show. So, Brian, it's great to be with you. Thanks for joining.
And it is great to be back on WABC. I used to be Mark Levin's regular fill-in for years, so I'm familiar with this audience. And WABC, this is the last great radio station in America.
I know. I mean, I don't know. We have about 50 affiliates throughout the country. I'm not sure if KSFO picks us up, but we used to have so much fun on your show. I mean, we just had so much fun. We were funny and had so many times. How long did you do that show, by the way?
I was doing that for 20 years, the morning show, and you were our guest for at least 10 years. And I think even before I was on the morning show, you were my guest in the evening show. So, yes, we've been doing our thing together for so long. But, now, Steve, I was listening to your opening segment, and you were talking about the economy, which is what you do, but you were talking about gas prices. So, this kind of melds into my book, Climate Cult. By the way, I am a certified meteorologist besides a regular talk show host.
Oh, my gosh, I didn't know that about you. Okay.
Yeah, so that's my background. I have a master's in meteorology, but here's the thing, Steve. Gas prices right now in the San Francisco Bay Area, gasoline is over $7 a gallon.
Oh my God, $7?
Diesel I've seen as high as $9.
Oh my God. Oh my God. By the way, nationally, Brian, the national price is about $4.25. So that means people in California are paying over $2 a gallon more than the national average.
Yes, and it's because California is involved in this cockamamie witch hunt on a naturally occurring variable trace gas in our atmosphere that's necessary for life. It's called carbon dioxide.
Right.
And so when you look at the gas prices, first of all, we have the highest taxation on gas in the nation. Yes. Plus, there's a 50-cent a gallon environmental fee that everybody pays when they buy gasoline. But the other thing nobody knows about, Steve, we have a special blend of gas in California that can only be refined in Texas. So in other words, every gallon of gas that's pumped into a vehicle in California has to be shipped from Texas.
But by the way, let me interrupt you for 1 second here. I mean, you're right. That's crazy. But what's even crazier? It doesn't actually come directly from Texas because of this stupid Jones Act rule with the shipping. They have to send them the gas to the Caribbean and then send it from the Caribbean all the way to California because of the flagging requirements on U.S. ships. I can't even get into it, but there's another stupid regulation that makes gas more expensive.
Yes, exactly. I saw a blurb from UC Irvine this past week, University of California, Irvine. They were blaming the use of fossil fuels on global warming. And can I tell you something? In my book, Climate Cult, I talk about the fact that atmospheric temperatures on Earth have been much warmer and much colder than today. Right. But if you want hot temperatures, all we have to do is go back to the 1930s. I mean, places like Millsboro, Delaware, July 21st, 1930, 110 degrees. In Medicine Lake, Montana, on July 5th, 1937, 117 degrees. We've never seen temperatures like we did in the 1930s, and you can't blame any of that on fossil fuels. That's
what created the Dust Bowl. So you're right. People don't know that was the hottest decade on record, and that happened before 90% of the carbon is put in the atmosphere.
Right. And then I talk. It's interesting in Climate Cult. I talk about all the woke socialist environmentalists. And I'm thinking of your mayor in New York City, Mondami. Yeah. What his followers won't tell you is the first person. Now listen to this, Steve. This is amazing. It's in the book. The first person on record that I could find who was blaming capitalism and industrialism on future climate change that would destroy the planet. That guy was the writing partner of Karl Marx, Frederick Engels. Jeez. Wow. In the 1880s, he was talking about industrialization, capitalism causing global cooling.
Well, people forget that it was supposed to be global cooling, and then it was global warming, and then they couldn't figure out that. That's why they changed it to climate change, as you know, because that way, no matter what happens with the temperature, no matter whether there's rain or drought, or whether there's, hurricanes, or whether the temperature's hot or cold, whatever it is, it's global warming. And we have to take away capitalism, and we have to live poor to save the planet. That's essentially what they're saying.
Yes, that's right. And I really agree with your stance, Republicans vis-a-vis Democrats. But the thing that I love is we finally have a president in the White House.
Yes.
Who is just, he's taken global warming and global cooling and climate change just off the menu completely. And I so appreciate that about Donald
I do
Trump.
too. He really has. I couldn't agree with you more, Brian. I'm talking to Brian Susman, who was the many years. Are you still doing talk radio? I know you do sometimes sub on shows and so on. Are you still are you still in front of the microphone?
I'm in front of the microphone. I have a podcast called Brian Susman Show. I do some fill-in around the country, but my team for the morning show in San Francisco is disbanded. We're all doing other things now.
Where's Katie?
Yeah, we're all. Well, Katie. Okay, so Katie's she's with another program. I don't think it's on WABC, so I'm not going to mention the name of it.
Yeah.
and then Sherry got a real job, so she's actually making real money now. So it's great.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, what I remember about Katie was when she'd do the traffic report, and she said, there's a lot of Debras on the road. Debras, Debris, Debras. And I was kind of kick out of that.
Okay, but Steve, you were mentioning AI. I love what you were saying in your opening segment about AI, and I'm concerned about these robots taking over life, and I know you're going to be talking about that in a future segment. But the thing that I also love about Donald Trump is the fact that we're not investing crazy amounts of money now on these renewable energy sources, which in some cases are just so inefficient.
Right. No, thank God he's doing that. And by the way, Brian, we're up against a hard break. I'd love to have you on more regularly. It's great to hear your voice. I know my audience appreciates your book. It's called Climate Cult, and we want to have you on as a regular because I always have so much fun with you, and we learn a lot from you, Brian. So thanks for coming on. This is the More Money Show. We have a hard break. We will be back in about 2 minutes, folks.
The More Money Show with Steve Moore on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The More Money Show with Steve Moore.
Entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back, folks. This is the More Money Show. Thank you so much for joining in. You are the ones who make this show successful, and we've got great ratings thanks to you. So appreciate it so much. This is the highlight of my weekend to be able to do this show. A happy Mother's Day to all the moms. My next guest is a good friend and one of the top economists and financial analysts in the country, David Bahnsen. David, are you with us?
I sure am. Good to be with you.
Okay. I guess what airport are you in there?
I'm in John Wayne in Orange County, headed to JFK. So I'm going from a very high-tax state to another very high-tax state.
You go coast to coast, my friend. So I know your time is tight because you got a plane to catch, but I really wanted to get you on this weekend because, of course, you're the author of many books on. Is the latest one Profit from the Profit?
Yeah, that doesn't come out until August, and so I'm really excited that we're a couple months away from my newest. It's going to be about dividend growth investing and dealing with how companies make profits as part of our capitalistic system, and then investors have a choice as to what those companies are going to do with the profits, and we favor dividends that companies can receive as a sign of a good company that can repeatedly pay and grow a dividend. But of course, the last book that came out, you and I have talked about many times, was Full Time, my book, defending a more rigorous understanding and belief in work.
So there's a couple of issues that I want to discuss with you today. And that was going to be the second issue, but since you brought it up, let's start with that. We have this AI revolution, robotic revolution that is coming on at warp speed, literally, not figuratively. And, if you look at the polling, David, you're aware of this. People are nervous. More people are nervous about this than excited about it. And people are worried about losing their jobs. They're worried about what effect this will have on just the way we live and and work and play, and it is going to affect everything. It's going to be a revolution, and it's coming. And so you have this kind of grassroots revolt that is coming. I shouldn't say it's coming. It's here. I mean, you're seeing it all over the country where communities are rising up saying, we don't want it. We don't want the data centers. We're very nervous about this stuff. And so I bring that up because when we move into this age of robotics, many of the kind of menial work that's been done for 1,000 years by human beings will be done by robots and machines. And then the question becomes, will this be the end of work?
Well, and that's where I've written so much at my weekly market commentary, dividendcafe.com, about people not understanding the economics of how all this works, that those who say AI is going to replace the need for work need to understand history, that what you have with technological progress, including progress that moves very fast and is very transformative like AI, is that certain work gets displaced and then other work gets replaced, that you find new opportunities, new needs. It shifts things. I use the digital revolution as an example because the numbers are so dramatically in our favor, because I know you and I see this issue the same, Steve. 57 million new jobs created, even though we do not have typewriter salesmen anymore. And I don't mind using the Industrial Revolution as an example either, the cliches about horse and buggy, but the Digital Revolution is an even better analogy because it's so new itself and so connected to AI. And yet what people need to understand is why, the guys like Ludwig von Mises talked about economics as human action, why I insist on talking about economics as a study of the human person. Human beings, Steve, have infinite needs. Therefore, there are infinite works to be done to support those needs and wants. AI is going to take away menial jobs.
So, you do a very good history. By the way, I would add to what you just said, the Green Revolution, and by that I mean the real Green Revolution, which was the revolution in agriculture, where we were able to produce more and more food using fewer and fewer man hours of work. The farm tractor probably displaced more workers than any invention in history. And yet we went from 30 people growing food out of every 100 to 2 out of 100. And yet we produce 5 times more food. So people found other things to do. That's why people moved to the city. But I think the concern now is that these robots are going to be so productive, David, that it's going to be, the question will be like, are people going to have to work? Because, you go back to the Middle Ages, people worked 60 or 70 hours a week. And then, then it was 60, and then it was 50, and then it was 40. And now the average work week is about 35. Do you see the work week shrinking? And how will people just sit? Can robots do everything for us?
No, they cannot. And this is also an economic principle. Robots cannot do what only humans can do. And when I say it's economic, it is, for me as a man of faith, a theological principle. It's a philosophical statement. Robots can't do empathy. They can't do wisdom and judgment at the deepest level of human needs. Right now, we're watching law firms get beat down by judges every week because they relied on AI to create briefs that they didn't properly vet and review. There's going to be a lot of conveniences and efficiencies, but there's not going to be an elimination of those ultimate, truly human things. Now, the question is, if you're a young person right now getting ready to enter a career, a workforce, is what is more susceptible to AI disruption? And I would recommend people truly lean in to the really human things, and I will argue those things are infinite.
Yeah, like what?
Well, anything that is requiring wisdom and judgment that a computer cannot do, and then even things that a computer can do that requires additional validation and application and utility. Right now, we're talking about software, Steve, getting disintermediated by AI. But then why is the number one growth in new job hiring software engineers? It's because there's still a need to then take the software that is AI is creating and supplementing and find the right applications with it. So I just believe all at once that AI is transformative and revolutionary, and that it is being overhyped as far as its ability to get rid of human need.
So one question that I get asked a lot, David, I'm talking to David Bahnsen, the fabulous economist and financial wizard, is whether or not, you're going to see sort of even a widening gap between rich and poor because, for example, we're not going to, a lot of the job, I'll give you one example, truck driver jobs. We have about 2 million truck drivers today. Probably in 10 years, we won't have many truck driver jobs left. I mean, those trucks will be automated. We're not going to have Uber or Lyft drivers already on the West Coast. A lot of the Ubers that come are driverless cars. So, if you're a truck driver, you're very nervous about this, right? What's going to happen to my job? So my point is really, really smart people like you're going to do great, but not everybody's in the top 1%, right? What about, the people in the bottom 50% that, are not brilliant, but is there a place in society for them?
Yes, but I think that it's important that, like Friedrich Hayek taught us about the fatal conceit, to believe that any of us have the ability to have all knowledge. When you talked about the Green Revolution, where the agrarian jobs moved, I couldn't have answered then exactly where they were moving to, but I could have answered that they were going to move somewhere, that they were going to go respond to market signals. And you saw it then with the Industrial Revolution. We switched from agricultural to a more manufacturing-oriented economy, and when we moved from manufacturing to services. But by the way, would you argue that the Internet helped disintermediate travel agencies? Most would. There's a lot less of a need for travel agents. But we have more people working in the travel agent sector now than, or about the same actually, than we did 15. Yes. But because the need...
I thought Expedia got rid of all those jobs.
But what it did is it lowered costs so much that it created new opportunity where now there's more people needed in luxury travel, corporate travel, more boutique and high end. And so it all at once gets rid of one area and creates a new one. And with truck drivers, I actually do not believe that we are going to go to a society with no truck drivers. I believe we're going to go to one with a lot less. But I think you're right that the trucks on the highway going down the 10 freeway in the middle of the country will be driverless, but I don't think they're going to be driverless on Fifth Avenue when they're pulling up with a delivery.
That's a good point. Okay, David, we got literally 2 minutes left. So I'm going to have you on again next week because we didn't finish our conversation, but very quickly, good news on the economy this week. Are you feeling better about things? A lot of economists were saying we were headed to stagflation, which is high inflation and high, inflation at the same time. That has happened before when we've had oil prices. How do you feel about things right now?
Yeah, I think it was a good week. I'm one who's been really in this kind of purgatory of seeing some data that is positive and some that isn't, and just trying to stay very humble in the way I assess the economy, not getting carried away one direction or the other. And this week, I think that the labor data was modestly indicating that we are not seeing firings picking up. Hirings are still lower than I want them to be.
They are.
But the weekly jobless claims are very low, Steve, and that's a good thing. And then the fact that the revisions for the past 2 job months were not that bad. I feel modestly encouraged about the labor data. And the one thing I gotta say, we need to see more capital expenditures outside of AI. We can't have the whole economy running on data center build outs. And I think that I just want to see small businesses say, hey, we're going to take our tax benefits from Big Beautiful Bill and start doing some capital investment. That's what we got to see next, Steve.
Final question in our last 45 seconds. You get asked this all the time. I get asked all the time. Are these technology companies, Google, Nvidia, Anthropic, OpenAI, are they tapped out or are they still good investments? I mean, their prices are unbelievably high now.
Unbelievably high. And the answer, and this is so important, I hope every listener hears this, it's different company by company. It is not one answer. All of them are expensive, but some have a more plausible explanation and a more plausible case to cash flow.
Like which one? Which one would you feel?
I think Google is in a very strong competitive advantage for how they're going to be able to assimilate AI, and they're spending money hand over fist right now, but they're spending money that they actually make. where an OpenAI is making trillions of dollars of commitments and they don't have the money. Now they're hoping to get it later and they're doing other financing deals, but the risk profile of that is very different than with a Google.
Well, folks, that of David Bahnsen, he has a plane to catch, and we have a commercial to get to. So, David, thank you very much for coming on. This is the More Money Show, and we will be right back. We'll take some of your calls, 1-800-848-9222. In our final segment, that's the More Money hotline, 1-800-848-9222.
The More Money Show with Steve Moore on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The More Money Show with Steve Moore.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Right, we're back, folks. This is the More Money Show. Thank you so much for joining in. The lines are filled. The lines are filled. So we'll take a few of your calls in the remaining moments that we have of the show. I'm just going to make one quick point about what's going on with AOC and Bernie Sanders and these others. Basically, this assault on wealth, that if you're rich, you're terrible. You may have seen that AOC is now saying that you can't earn $1 billion. You can't earn it. What about our great entrepreneurs who built great companies? You mean to say that they didn't earn it? They employ thousands and thousands and thousands of people. They built great companies. They produced products that we want. We bought their products voluntarily. They got rich. That's called the American dream, folks. And I'm sick of people saying if you get rich in this country, somehow you're the villain. But that's what AOC is saying. It's almost like, remember when I think it was Hillary. No, was it Hillary Clinton? No, it was not Hillary. It was Obama, who said, you did not build that. Remember, you did not build that.
If you've got a business, you didn't build that.
Yeah, you didn't build it. And that's the kind of attitude of these folks. No, I think we should be celebrating people who get rich if they do it the right way, by producing products that we want. That's called the free enterprise system, and it's what made this country great. Okay, let's go to the lines. We only have a few minutes, so you have to make your statements very quickly, but we have Phil in New Jersey. Phil, what do you got for us?
Hey, Steve, so I have a question. I live in New Jersey, blue state, and with the wealth tax, are they going to be able to consider treasuries as part of your wealth? Because they're not subject to state income.
They're going to go after everything, Phil. Yes, they're going to go after your treasuries. They're going to go after your house. They're going to go after the money you have in your piggy bank at home. They're going to find your wealth, and they are going to tax it. In some cases, they're talking about 5 or 10% wealth taxes. In some cases, they're talking about taxing it year after year after year. By the way, wealth is just the savings. We want people to save, right? Saving is a virtue, and so they're going to tax it over and over and over and over again. So the effective tax on that money, which you already paid tax on it when you earned it, then they're going to tax it 5% one year, 5% the next year, 5% the next year. So do the math, folks. Pretty soon they're going to take 100%, Phil. Is that fair?
Yeah, but federal law prohibits states from taxing treasuries.
They will try to. They're going to find out how much you have in treasuries, and they're going to tax you on the web. That's going to be considered financial wealth. Okay, Phil, good call. Thank you. Let's see. I think we have Dennis. Dennis, what do you got for us?
Good afternoon. I wanted to mention with the AI,
Yes. What is your view? What is your view of it, Dennis?
I use it I'm using Waze right now to get home. I use it all the time.
You like it?
Waze is AI driven, no question about it.
Yeah. So are you afraid it's going to take over all our jobs? Are we going to be working for the computers?
I don't know. I use it to work myself. I want to figure something out. I just bring up Google, I ask a question, I get an intelligent answer. I have them searching. It's fear mongering by the mainstream media in my book.
I agree. Dennis, great call. Thank you. You're exactly right. There's a lot of scaremongering. People say that's going to, they're saying data centers are going to pollute the water. There's too noisy. They don't pay their taxes. Most of those things are myths. Now, look, I understand people are afraid. I mean, it's going to be a big jolt to the economy. It's going to be a positive jolt, but there will be displacement effects, as we were talking about earlier. So I see both sides of this, but on average, I mean, look, would you get rid of your iPhone? Would you get rid of the wheel? Would you get rid of electric power? All of these things change the world in a better way. And I think if properly adapted, this is going to be a very, very exciting future. I think, Mr. Producer, we can slip in one more call quickly. Who have we got?
Let's see.
Is
I heard Phil from New Jersey. Oh, okay. Jim from Manhattan.
Jim. I think we haven't gotten to Jim yet, have we?
Hello, Mr. Moore.
Hi.
Hello, Jim.
Yes, I'm pessimistic about AI. I think we gotta keep our eyes open. I think it could lead to extremely high unemployment, even greater unequal income distribution with huge income for the AI fat cats like Musk and Zuckerberg. And politically, I think it could turn out to be a very big gift to Mandami and the Democratic Socialists and Communists, because a lot of people are going to need income support. We got to keep our eyes open about this stuff.
I agree. I agree that what's going to happen is this is going to make our society richer. And then the left is going to say, oh, gee, we don't have to have people work at all. We could just give them a guaranteed national income. This is something, Jim, I'm so glad you called, because this is a very important point you're making, is the left will use this as an excuse, because we will all get richer. We're all going to benefit from this. But a lot of the menial jobs will be eliminated. And then they'll say, oh, let's just give these people money. And by the way, that's the worst thing, because there's no sense of human achievement and human fulfillment by just sitting around getting a check from the government. So I don't want that to happen. I think it's a good warning you make. Folks, we are coming to the end of the show. I wanted to mention a couple of things. We work hard to bring this show to you every week. I want to thank all the producers, including the folks in New York, the folks here. Connor, thank you so much for doing this. And I also want to make sure that people are getting our Unleash Prosperity hotline. All the topics we've been talking about are covered in depth in the hotline. Get it for free. It costs nothing. I'm not selling you anything, folks. I'm not selling you anything because it's free. There's no advertising. It's just information that you need every day. So go to unleashprosperity.com and just click on the hotline button and we will send it to you. Members of Congress are reading it. CEOs are reading it. People in the White House are reading it. People in the know are reading it, and you should too. I always say it's one of the best ways of making sure that you are the smartest person in the room. And if you like it, by the way, and you get it, sign up your friends. We already have about 200,000 people every day who are reading the hotline, but I want 2 million. I want 20 million people to read this so they get educated about the economy, how it works. I'm very nervous, folks, about how uneducated a certain party is in this country on basic economics. They think that we can succeed under a socialist system. Somebody show me anywhere in the world where socialism has worked. Because I've looked throughout the country, I've looked throughout the world. I don't see any examples. I see a lot of examples of failure. Look at Europe today. Europe is in decline. Look, Cuba, we're going to liberate Cuba. Here's my prediction, folks. We are going to, under Donald Trump, liberate Cuba. It is going to become one of the richest countries in the world, thanks to Donald Trump. It's freedom. It's Libre. They call it Libre, and that's going to happen in Cuba. Okay, folks, we are ready to sign off. Thanks so much. We will be...
Thanks for listening to More Money with Steve Moore. You can hear More Money with Steve Moore Saturday afternoons at 1. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.